The following program is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melli Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design, with additional support from Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture. Welcome to Meet the Farmer TV. Here we are with Chef Craig Hartman at Fossett's Restaurant in the Keswick Hall and Estates. The most famous chef in the entire area, some of the best food that can be found in Central Virginia, and a special invitation-only tasting of the new menu for Fossett's Restaurant.
You know, as chefs, that we're able to use, food that someone grows, not a, I'm not here to, put down industrial farming, but at the same time, there's a lot of heart that goes into things. I remember telling students before about wine. I remember a student said to me one time, I don't drink white wines. They're not that great, red wines, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, have you ever taken into consideration in your mind that somebody grew these grapes? And not only did they grow those grapes, and they picked them at the right time, and they waited till they had enough bricks, and then they juiced them, and then they stirred the lees, and then they put them in a bottle, and they're like, well, I said, so every time you pick up a bottle of wine, it's just not a liquid, it's something somebody put their heart into. Like me, I cook food, people eat it, and right away they're like, chef, that was the greatest thing in the world. But a winemaker, they don't usually hear that until later on. It could be years. Same thing with the farmer. You go to the farmer's market, people taste things, but I get to serve what you do and get all the accolades from it. And that's the thing. As a chef, if I can say to someone sitting in my dining room, oh man, I asked Michael to make these grow these red okra for us, and here's how we're doing it, and they get real excited about it, and because there's a connection from the dirt to the mouth. I remember one time I went Christmas shopping with a guy that worked in the security area of a big hotel. I was working at Washington, and we were in the bookstore looking, and he was Christmas shopping, and I found this book, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh God, look, oh wow, look at that. So he comes running over. What he wants to see, and there's a picture of these different eggplants, and he's looked at these eggplants. He's like, oh, you're a sick man, And the thing is that to us they're treasures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Food is treasure. So I never forget the first time you brought me that giant arm of aloe. But to me, that was exciting. It was like, wow, look at this. And in fact, it's the way we are in the kitchen. I hire chefs and people in the kitchen that get that excited. So when we get something new, it's like, well, look at this thing. And they're like, what is that? I've never seen that. And we're all like around it, and we get excited about it. And
yeah, our deliveries are always fun when we bring stuff in and something new, I think we brought some of those shiso tops in because she wanted to make an ice cream. Shiso ice cream.
She's very excited about the shiso tops, and even today, when Leslie brought the lemon verbena and the pineapple sage, a lot of my guys had never seen either of the two, and they were smelling them. They're like, my God, this is unbelievable. What is this? I said, well, it's pineapple sage. You should taste the flowers. Sometimes we get them; they're little red flowers, and it's and that's what makes it nice.
You've had a restaurant at the beach down the Outer Banks. You've run a cooking school.
I've had a good time in this business. I really have, and the fact that I've been able to work in some fantastic places, Clifton Inn right down the road, which my wife and I started, the Sanderling Inn in Duck, North Carolina, the Mayflower Hotel in Washington, the Pinehurst Hotel. I mean, the list goes on, and the fact that it's just a nice life.
Well, now you're also the creator of the truffle dinner at Palladio, and is this like coming up on the 10th?
Oh, the truffle dinner is always in November, and it's usually the weekend before Thanksgiving. And this is not the 10th. This is actually, I think, maybe the 12th.
So this year will be the 12th?
Or maybe the 11th. I don't know. We're going to write a book. You heard it here on Meet the Farmer.
Yep.
And
we're going to go to Italy and dig up those truffles?
Yeah, because we can't come out with the book till we have totally learned and felt what it's like to dig up a truffle. But that truffle dinner has really become something. It sells out in weeks, and this is just a fun thing to do. I got to tell you, it's a lot of hours. You come in here at 11, I'm still here sitting there, writing a menu for the next day, and But I mean, I think you might even start earlier than me, so I'm not going to complain. I might only start at 10 in the morning, and you're already at probably 10. You're having lunch. But what we do takes a lot more hours, but because we love it, and what things like you do, Brett, by going over and working with the Amish farmers, the other local farmers, the people at the farmers market, the cheesemakers. These are all people who have an incredible passion, and lucky for us that they're here because we get to utilize what they do. And it's nice because then all I have to do with good things like that is to treat it with respect, and dignity. If I can take anything you do, anything that Collins Huff does, or the folks over at Polyface, if I take their ingredients that they've loved and just serve them with respect, people love my food, so it's a no-brainer for me.
Well, that's terrific. Well, tell us what's happening tonight. Who's going to be here tonight? And this is a special tasting to announce your new design of menu, the new heart and soul of the Keswick Inn and Estates.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm a believer that a restaurant has to have a soul. That you can build a restaurant, give it a name, and then just make food and have service. But it's just a restaurant. You know what I mean? But before you really have something special, it's got to have a soul. And we searched for this identity, but the fact laid right here with the name, Edith Fossett. And, we just realized, we need to really focus in on Edith Fossett and Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, the first gourmet, we're in Charlottesville. This is where it happened. This is really the epicenter of fine dining in America. He's the one that brought it back. But then Edith Fossett is kind of the face on Southern cuisine because the African American culture were really the ones that were doing the cooking. And all of these things, like for instance gumbos and etouffees and working with peanuts and cucumbers and okra, this all came from the African American culture, and we'll highlight that. And so that's what we're doing here. We're going to highlight the African American culture and what it meant. We're going to highlight what Thomas Jefferson brought back, and then we're going to do some exploration things too, because we know Thomas Jefferson would love anything new, and we're going to have some mainstays on the menu for people that want just a rack of lamb or something like that. But of course we'll buy the best rack of lamb we possibly can. And tonight we're just kind of launching that. We want people to come out, see what we're doing, get as excited as we are.
We've never been this excited before, and the reason we're excited is because this is a theme menu. It's something that, as far as we know, is totally unique not only to Virginia but to the U.S. And the thing that makes it unique is we look back on the Jefferson heritage. Since we are in Virginia, we are in Albemarle. We're only a short crow's flight from Monticello. We thought we'd theme it around Monticello, but not just Monticello, but also around the Virginia seasons and the Virginia area where we're resident in Virginia agriculture in general. So I think we've done that pretty well.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Tell me about just the history of Keswick and the Fossett's restaurant and the Inn and Estates. I mean, it goes way back.
It does go way back. There's been something on the property here for a couple hundred years. The golf course has been around for 60 or 70. I mean, it's been renovated several times. The inn resort itself has been here since 1991. Fossett's restaurant opened 4 years ago, and it's a brand new restaurant in a brand new spot. We used to have a restaurant downstairs, and when we decided to open a restaurant upstairs with a great view out over the golf course, we had basically a competition to come up with a name, and the name that was most popular was Edith Fossett's. We named it Fossett's after Jefferson's chef in his retirement years at Monticello.
Well, that's interesting. So this is really sort of a secret jewel here in Charlottesville. Not that many people know that this quality food is just around the corner up here on Pantiles.
That's absolutely right. So we hope to get a lot of people in the know now and get them out here to see what we're doing.
I can't wait to see who do you think we've got invited here. Did Craig bring in all of his favorite customers to taste this menu?
He invited them all. Whether they'll all come, I'm sure they will. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see several high-level VIPs here.
Okay. Well, thank you, Richard.
Sir, how are you? Look at this. Don't look now. Look, ready? Okay. Okay, Griffin's Airy beef is grass-fed. The Polyface pork is smoked in grapevine. This is the new menu. This is the shoulder of beef, which Thomas Jefferson said was his favorite. This is the pork belly braised in orange. Now there's a lot of other things we're passing, so make sure you get, please, try the foie gras. Foie gras.
Tell us what you're doing.
This is a frog gras mousse with truffle explosion on top with cherry sauce.
All right. So a foie gras mousse with a
The
truffle explosion and a cherry sauce and some micro opal basil.
Yep.
What's going on?
You know, we just got a little roasted beet salad working right here with some of your beautiful greens going on top.
All right.
Got a little peanut vinaigrette going along with it, keeping it nice and southern. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Over here we have nice sous vide salmon working.
So this is part of the exploration where
Yeah, this is
we're
part of the
using.
exploration. This is the entree off the exploration menu. So what we got is some king salmon that we cryo back with some oil and herbs and salt, pepper, cooking it at about 155 degrees, about 7 to 10 minutes. Comes out nice and moist and juicy, delicious. Throws a little bit of chef's shiitake bacon that he makes.
Wow. So this is the high-tech end of
Yeah,
the,
this is our baby, the thermal circulator. What else we got? Over here we have some, these are braised lamb shoulder raviolis that we make. They go with some beet puree. Here's the truffle explosion. This is off of the exploration menu as well. It's got a little faux gras mousse on the bottom, and then this is a truffle that we mix with a sodium alginate and calcium chloride. And it forms like a shell around the truffle puree, and then
Wow.
as you eat it, it's kind of like a gobstopper, kind of just oozes in your mouth.
wow.
So yeah, all kinds of stuff going on. Next we got this is a little bit of sweetbreads and oyster stew we got working here. Over here is the southern fried quail and quail egg, a little bit of Johnny cake. And then also we have here is the lobster cocktail with rabbit goat sauce.
Thank you, Curtis.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, guys.
Tell them about the truffle dinner.
Yeah, we want to know about the secret dinner that's happening in November.
Well, first you have to know what truffles are.
True enough.
You know, some people do, some people don't, but there are chocolate truffles
Yeah.
and there are real truffles.
And they're fungus troubles.
Real truffle are fungus, and they are the most fabulous aromatic tubers that there are there. They're great. And this man over here, this friend of mine, knows really how to create a whole atmosphere around them.
Yeah.
It's the most delicious and most entertaining wine dinner
Ever.
ever on the East Coast.
Do you have this on tape?
Central and West Coast. And this year we're doing the 12th annual
12th annual, yeah.
dinner.
Well, we're here with Amy, the head gardener for the Keswick estate, and there's a special project going on this year of raised bed gardens for the kitchen. So tell us about this, Amy.
Okay. Well, we decided that we were going to try and grow some of our own vegetables locally, and we've gone ahead and done a raised garden, vegetable garden, all enclosed with deer fencing. And we're going to try and grow everything here by seed organically, but we are holding out on that entirely and keeping that option open at the moment. At the moment, we just broke ground yesterday, and now we're just immediately dealing with the first problem of some drainage issues. So we're putting some French drains in right now, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have our beds up. And the person who's doing our garden is from Boonesville and has a turkey farm, so a lot of the compost that we're using in the garden is
So
going
some
to
good
be
turkey litter as fertilizer.
Exactly, and we're mixing that in with that, and so we're hoping to be up and running. We weren't quite ready to get our potatoes in, but hopefully we'll get our peas in by the end of beginning of April 1st. And
Well, that's great. So now are you're planting like the the most modern hybrid varieties, or you're trying to do Jeffersonian Monticello
Absolutely not.
seed? or-
We're trying to do mostly heirlooms. We're doing a lot of Jefferson, a lot of Monticello seeds. The majority of our seeds have come from either Monticello, or the majority of our seeds come from Johnny's Seeds. That's his a great place in Maine who does a lot of heirloom vegetables. So we're trying to do a balance of each, a little bit of both.
Well, that's great. So we should go outside and take a look at this at various stages during the year, and then see how it comes into the kitchen.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're also going to be doing a lot of edible flowers, so that's another element. We're going to be scarlet runner beans. We'll do nasturtiums. We have an awful lot of different of the old-fashioned marigolds that we'll be using, as well as a lot of herbs.
Now, are you going to let the chefs go out in the garden and pick their own?
Absolutely not. No, we already set that up as a rule that only the gardeners can go in the garden.
Okay, so no deer and no chefs.
No deer, no chefs.
Okay.
You said it so well by saying the heart and soul. This is something that takes place not only with what Craig Hartman and Chef Hartman's been working on the last 2 years, what's happened in the community. This is something today that we're looking to launch. It's not only about the food, and about great food, by the way, and great wine, but also about the produce and the farms and the relationships with our local community. This is a menu that's Jefferson's menu. This is a menu that explores what he would like, what he enjoyed on his table, also what Edith, his main chef during his retirement, would have explored. It's also on a menu that has a little bit of fun and explores what he would do if he were around today. We're excited about this, and that's what we brought people out here today, is to share the story and the food, and hopefully get people excited not only about the concept, but about the program and about the relationship with the community.
Well, I know we've worked with Hartman for many, many years, and we're growing a lot of the microgreens and edible flowers, and we talked to Brett and then Horse and Buggy, and they've got a whole bank of Mennonite farmers producing items, and we also talked to Amy. You're planting your own garden outside.
That's right, and you're absolutely right. This is a strong network of farmers throughout the community, and both in the estate and without. We have our head gardener that's finalizing a garden that'll be done on property, that's done with all heirloom seeds from the Monticello farm. We're working with Peter Hatch out in Monticello for that, and it's being supported with farmers like you. Whether we're doing with the greens or dealing with heirloom zucchinis or tomatoes or squash, this is all about what we can do and grow here locally and enjoy among the community.
Well, that's great, and what we're doing here with Meet the Farmer TV is trying to follow that food from the farm to the plate and show all those stages and that interaction and how important it is to the community and the economy today to keep things local and to really keep that dollar circulating in the local community.
Well, we're looking forward to having you back to kind of see it come right from our garden and right from yours, and then all the way to the final foods going through. This is something we look forward to doing not only this summer but for years to come, and just keep it to be a long-term part of our culture.
Well, that's terrific. So maybe we should take the staff out to some of the farms and actually do a little segment out there with them in the farm.
I think you're kind of establishing this is part one. We've got part two coming up next.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Matthias.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
You bet.
Thank you.
In economic times, everybody's struggling and cutting back and trying to find some way to survive, and we're kind of trying to promote that the local economy works better if we kind of keep things local, and the local farms support the chefs and the chefs support the local farms, and we're getting a real good response from customers and clients in the community, and like we see here tonight at Keswick, where Hartman's really trying to focus on some history and send those seeds out to the local farms and grow this stuff for me. How does that work for you guys at CNO?
Well, hats off to Craig and hats off to you too for kind of, you've been a pioneer in this whole thing for a long time, and we're really having a big response from our customers who are looking for that, looking for the local thing, looking for organically grown things. It's tremendous response for it. So we're happy to be able to provide that, but also happy that we have people like you and Craig to be able to, to turn to for leadership that way. So it's working out great for us.
Jefferson, because of the fact that I think he was very passionate about all he did. I think that's the bottom line. When he went to Europe, he saw what the culture of food and wine is about, and really understood in depth how great it is to actually be able to taste things, to smell things, to enjoy also a lifestyle that is all around wine and food. When he left there, he was tremendously missing it, I believe, and he was trying to bring back the same atmosphere and try to share with others what he shared there.
So really, you've realized Jefferson's dream. You've got a fine dining restaurant, and you've got a winery, and you're making wonderful wine with Virginia grapes.
Yes, well, I moved to Virginia 20 years ago, and in a way, I was missing a little bit the lifestyle I'm used to, which is, we like to eat well and drink well, and we like to entertain a lot. That's typical of most Italian families, and so actually it turned out that we now are able to grow grapes. We know better to understand the soil and the climate, which is something Jefferson didn't have a chance to because a lot of things were unknown. And then a few years ago also we felt was the right time to open a restaurant, and with very simple foundations, which are the best ingredients, buying whatever is freshest and closest to you if it's good, and be very respectful of the ingredients. Don't mess them up too much, don't add too many things to it, and then that's the only way, and it's the best way to enjoy wine, is at the table with food. So we believe strongly in that, and we very carefully took a step after the other, and today people say this is one of the best restaurants on the East Coast, and I'm very glad I believe that, and also it tells you that it pays to believe in what you do. We can look at a few of the basic, more important steps from the vineyards up, and it's something that people see as maybe something very complicated. It's not. It really is. It just requires a lot of attention in the field, and
so it's that attention to
practice.
detail and
There's a lot of
striving for the
details,
excellence.
but it's to the outside viewer seems like very complicated. If you're a good farmer, your climate, your soil, it becomes easier and easier to learn how to do it. So that's what we do there. I've been there for a little bit more than 30 years, so we know what we're doing.
Here we are with Wendy from Polyface Farms, arguably the most famous natural, how would you call that? Not natural farm, because all farms are natural. Joel Salatin, the founder, is probably arguably the most famous natural meat producer in the world.
Yes.
Am I right? I'm right.
Very right.
Hey, are you guys paying attention?
Not from there.
Look at us in the eyes. Anyway, so I'm with Wendy from Polyface Farms.
His new sous chef.
My new sous chef, Polyface Farms. In the book, Omnivore's Dilemma, #1 seller, New York Times.
I don't know. I thought
Joel
I handed it to
Salatin
you.
is the guru of all natural raising techniques for meat.
It's right here.
And we're lucky enough and proud enough to serve their eggs, their chicken, and their pork. And tonight,
Bacon. You need to try the bacon.
and the bacon.
Oh, the bacon is the best.
And so, anyway, what did you think of tonight?
Oh, it's incredible.
And I see you're only drinking water,
Only
which is
drinking
good.
water.
Don't leave it all.
You had a good time?
Oh, it was fabulous. It was fabulous.
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Everything was delicious.
Good.
The displays, everything.
Good. Well, thank you. Do you know Meet the Farmer? Do you know Mr. Michael Clark?
Yeah, I've met her pigs. And it was really interesting. One of the things we were talking about is the polyface pigs, they look like pets. They're all shiny and they're happy and they come up to the people and they're friendly. And the commercial animals aren't. They're afraid of humans. They're all dirty and gray.
Listen, what actually do you do at Polyface?
I started out answering phones for them and scouting calls to whoever they needed to go to, and now I do on-farm sales and a little bit of restaurant sales, and really, if anybody calls, if I can do it, I do it first. If I can't, then it goes to Joel or whoever. So I'm reading all of his books at one time.
Custard, Poultry Profits,
Yeah.
Salad Bar Beef.
You can farm. I'm reading them all at one time to learn it all.
I like the website where they show the staff. and their little bios.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's pretty
We
cool.
have a new one. Have you seen polyfaceyum.com?
No.
That's our online for like our buying clubs. And then we have a blog where a lot of the apprentices write about their experience about being a polyface apprentice, and that's cool to read.
Polyface Yum. That's polyfaceyum.com. And don't forget chefhartman.com.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's very good. It's very informative, yeah. It's got all kind of pictures.
It's got him from a little baby.
Meet the
all the way
farmer
up to-
built it for me.
We don't have that.
Pigs.
Do your parents have any photos of that?
I don't have the pig wrestling yet on there,
We need to get that.
but we will.
That's good.
I feel a little bit humbled, you know, to be at Keswick Hall or even anywhere in Charlottesville where, you know, Thomas Jefferson really lived his life and thought was kind of utopia on earth, because he was the really kind of on the forefront of, you know, our movement, you know, the whole kind of slow food movement or whole food movement. You know, he was such a meticulous farmer and kept the most incredible records, and he was just enamored by everything that had to do with eating and farming and how it all related to each other. And, you know, here we are, we're in Charlottesville, and, you know, I have the kind of the pleasure to be the chef at Fossett's restaurant. Edith Fossett was Thomas Jefferson's chef. His chef in the White House. She was trained by Lemaire, and you know, she was able to cook for Thomas Jefferson, but as well as the rest of the folks at Monticello, and you know, it's our namesake here at the restaurant. And the cool thing about that is that, you know, Southern cuisine as a whole is influenced probably more by the African American culture than by any other culture. And so with that said, here we are. We're at Fossett's, and we have Edith Fossett's name. So one of the things we decided to do here at Keswick is to do a whole Edith Fossett menu where we explore these fantastic influences that the African American culture had. So this is real exciting to us. Also, the fact then that we're able to take it one step further from Jefferson, who loved his farming, to us, you know, having a really great relationship with other farmers in the community, and all kinds of farmers. I mean, for instance, his beef is raised at Griffin's Eyrie farm, and it's Devon cattle. The pork is raised by Joel Salatin out at Polyface Farms. We have vegetables from Michael Clark. We have vegetables from the Showalter family. We have cheeses from the Sidwell family. I mean, the list goes on. And the more, the better. And it's just, you know, hey, as a chef, what could be better than that? I mean, I must have the greatest gig in the entire world, I got to tell you.
Well, thank you, Craig.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of Meet the Farmer TV. For additional information and extended versions of this program, visit our website, www.meetthefarmer.com.
The bottom line is that we've really tried to make this a restaurant with a soul. And part of that soul has to do with the local farmers. We've made a big commitment to that. Amy, our gardener, is putting together one of the most beautiful gardens for us. We're going to start growing a lot of our own things here. Thank you.
The preceding program was made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melli Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design, with additional support from Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.